Well, let's make it, and then you guys can let me know kind of what you think. I think it's such a great project to make from your stash. That's why I hesitate to do this as a kit, because guys, you probably have lots of just kind of random leftover ribbons, leftover lace, trims, twines, fabrics. It's such a great kind of like stash buster type of project, because that's what it's made from. It's all this just kind of the leftovers of whatever, maybe from other projects and things like that too. Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that, Betsy. Thank you for sprinkling. And so I'm going to walk you through how to make this. I'm going to show you, that there are some things you could use a thimble. You don't have to use a thimble. We can do other things, and they're just really, 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 I think you'll be surprised how easy they are to make. Okay, you guys ready to get started? All right, I'm going to change my screen so that you can really kind of see what's going on here. And let's zoom in just a bit. Okay, I think this will work. So to make these tassel necklaces, and again, I'll kind of put mine on screen here. I'm wearing mine at the moment. They're so pretty. And like I said, I think it's really fun that you can add them onto a necklace, chains of any kind. I also love these on projects. Okay, so I just think they're kind of fun to create a unique tassel to put on a project. So I want to show you kind of some of the piles of stuff that I have going on here. I'm still cutting. I started cutting before we went live, but I'm going to tell you, like, laces are great for this. You can see I have some laces in my pile here, right? And then also crocheted laces. Crocheted laces are more like this, right? They're that more kind of heavy duty, really, really pretty. And it doesn't matter. Nothing really has to be the same. It can all be different. The other thing I want to show you is that I like mixing creams and whites together. Okay. I like mixing creams and whites together. If you don't, that's okay. We're actually going to throw some pink into this one today because Valentine's is coming up. So you can throw in, just some pretty things, right? We're just going to throw in some pretty things, and any size ribbon, right? This is kind of a creamy ribbon here, little tiny ribbon here. So twine, if you like twine, I mean, all kinds of anything. Now I'm going to keep mine fairly neutral with a little dash of pink. I'm going to use some of this pink. This is like a kind of like a faux silk. It's not real silk. It's kind of a faux silk, but I think it'll be really pretty. So here's another cream lace. Now, the measurement I like for these tassels is I want you to cut things to about 14 inches. Okay. This is just a really pale pink, but I think it's going to be really pretty. It's kind of a vintagey look. And we're just going to kind of throw this all into the pile for right now. So I like to do them about 14 inches. I do wind up trimming them a little bit. So it's nice to have them be, a little longer than you might think you need. So 14 inches. And this is something that also, sometimes I don't use lace or ribbon at all. I have made these with nothing but fabric, and those are really fun. And you can put little wood spools in them. They're just really cute. I'm going to put a few of these in here, just to bring in that kind of pale pink color. And the other thing is going to be fabric. So if you were going to make a neutral one, even just like muslin is a great neutral that you can just do hand torn strips of. I thought it might be fun today, again, because Valentine's Day is coming up, to maybe throw in a little bit of pink. So I want to show you how I cut my fabric. Yes, I really like 14 inches. Amy's posting it there in the comments. Thank you, Amy. I think 14 inches is really a nice, again, because, we can always cut it a little shorter, right? We can always cut it a little shorter. So if I'm going to cut fabric to add in, I'm going to just kind of take and cut these little snips and then just tear. I love tearing fabric. I love the sound of it. I love that it makes me feel strong. So we can tear some fabric into our tassels too. And I think the most interesting tassels are the ones that have, interesting things in them, right? So much fun. I get compliments too, Adela, all the time. Anytime I'm wearing, and like people will stop me, like strangers will stop me and say, "Oh my gosh, can I look at your necklace or whichever?" And so you can even, like put little trinkets in your tassels. Like if you're into, if you want to put in like a key or some cute charms. It's so much fun. I'm just taking out some of the excess thread from my torn pieces of fabric here. I think this one's going to look really sweet. So fabric, ribbon, lace, yeah, all the things. Twines, trims. The only thing I would tell you to be careful of is anything that's too thick, right? We don't want anything that's like super, super thick. I think those torn pieces of fabric are going to look really cute in there. So here's what I've done, right? I just tore these. I need to cut these down to 14 inches. 14 inches just seems to be just right. I've made these multiple times, and I like 14 inches. And even if you have a few like scrap pieces that aren't quite 14, you can still put them in your tassel, because most of the time I wind up kind of trimming these anyway, trimming them up a bit. All right, and let's get these cut, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the other things that we can use. Okay, be cute. It is fun to make seasonal tassels. You can actually make them seasonal for different holidays and things like that. They look really cute with your tie backs on curtains, or even hanging. If you have ceiling fans and you want to put a cute tassel on your ceiling fan, maybe in your craft room or something, they're just really fun and really cute to use. They look really great tied onto bags. If you're into bags, like a shoulder bag or even a crossbody bag, something like that, really, really cute. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about some of the other things here. All right. So one thing I want to show you is that, well, first off, I think I should tell you this. Let me go in close. I'm not a jewelry maker. Okay. I always try to tell you this, because some of you out there probably are jewelry makers. I'm not a jewelry maker. I am a crafter that's making something to wear. Okay. So I may not say all the right terms, and I may not call these things the right things, because I'm a crafter that likes to make wearables, okay, and other things. So one thing I was really pleased to find is like places that sell jewelry, okay, like and jewelry parts and pieces, like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, anywhere that sells jewelry pieces. A lot of times they'll actually sell these chains, like the little necklace that I have on. Let me hold this up a little closer for you. So this is the chain I have my tassel on right now. Isn't that pretty? So I don't have to like build the whole thing out. You may even have a necklace or something that you want to, that you already have, that you just want to add. All you need is a little jump ring to add your tassel to a current necklace that you already have. So these are nice though, for those of us that are not jewelry makers. I don't want to have to make all of the parts and pieces. And then they also sell chain on like spools, like rolls, so you can kind of get the length, whatever length that you want, all of that. Is it blurring? Oh, okay. And can everybody hear me okay? I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it's blurring. Let's go back to this. So anyway, I want you to know these are out there and they are available. Okay. Now, the other thing that you're going to need is going to be a little bit of wire. And so I'm going to tell you 2 gauges here. I would say, because you might already have some of this in your stash. So if you have a 24 or a 20 gauge, I kind of like 24 and 20 gauge best for these. Whichever one, the 20 gauge is a little thicker. Okay. If you have a hard time working with your hands, you may want the 24 gauge. Okay. So I'm going to say 24 or 20. All right. Those two are going to be just fine for this. You don't need to go any thicker. You don't need to go any thinner. Okay. Yeah, be really cute on a lanyard. Absolutely, Amy. I love that idea. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now that I have all my pieces cut here, I know I'm going to need a little bit of wire. What else am I going to need? Well, I kind of like adding in some pearls. This was just kind of a piece, just a remnant of some pearls. So you may even have bits and pieces of maybe a necklace that broke or something. They actually sell pearl. This isn't real pearls, but they actually sell pearl trims and things, sometimes even by the spool, where you can get them. And again, check your jewelry department in your local craft store, and you'll find all kinds of little beaded things. This one is pearls. Okay. Now the other thing I like to have is going to be just some actual pearls that I can bead, and these are jump rings. So I just put these in this little dish so they won't, float around. They won't roll around all over my craft table. But there are different colors. This is kind of a blush pink. This is kind of a silvery color. There are whites. There are off-whites. There are all kinds of colors of pearls, okay? Or beads. This could be beads as well. I'm using pearls today. And then some jump rings, okay? Now, something else that I like to use, as I mentioned, we were talking about thimbles. Thimbles make a really great little topper for a tassel, especially if you kind of like repurposing things and stuff like that. So thimble, they make, again, in the jewelry department, they make these little, I don't know what these are called, you guys. I don't know what they're called. Caps. I'm going to call it a cap. I don't really know what they're called, again, because I'm not really a jewelry maker. I'm a crafter that goes down the jewelry aisle and just sees what I can use. Okay. So these little caps, these can also be used. And again, you'll find these on your, in the jewelry section, but look how pretty that one is. Like, that would be a really pretty one. Maybe we'll use this one today for our tassels. Okay. So these little caps are fun, and they're all different kinds, and they come in silver and gold and copper and different finishes, right? Bead caps. Okay. That's what we'll call them. Bead caps. Thank you. And they even make some smaller ones. Like, these are really cute to put on top of a pearl. If we want to layer in some pearls. The other things that you can find, if you just want to add in some silver or gold or whatever, again, other little beads, other little things, you could add those in as well. Okay. What else? I think that's really it. So let's get started. You guys ready? Let's get started. Yes, no paint, no hot glue. None of that today. All right. None of that today. So remember, the magic number is going to be 14. I really like the length to be about 14. I do generally trim them. So if you have a piece in your stash that is less than 14 inches, go ahead and use it. Because generally I do, like I said, I trim them down just a little bit. So what we're going to do first is, and I'm not going to worry about this right now, we're going to just kind of layer up our pieces, right? We need to kind of layer these up. We don't want all the fabric in one spot. Let me get down here to some of these. So let's maybe start here. And then add in another one. And again, you're going to see I'm using all different, different ones. And just kind of start layering them up. I try not to be too I try not to think about this too much, okay? Because I think they look better when you just kind of are random. Put in a couple of those. Another pink. Another pink. Because you can think yourself to death when you're trying to make something like this. Okay. So there we go. All right. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pick this up, because obviously when you lay things down, things aren't always going to be exactly even. And I'll just kind of look at the ends and I'll kind of pull through the ones that I feel like I need to pull through. And again, this is just to kind of give you an idea what this is going to look like. Look how pretty that's going to be. Such a pretty tassel, right? So try to lay them on there as evenly as possible. But again, remember, we got a little extra here, so that way we can come back in and trim them up a little bit. Okay. All right, let's cut some wire. I'm going to go ahead and cut some wire here. And if you have little wire cutters or craft scissors, don't use your good scissors for stuff like this. And I always cut maybe a little more than I'm really going to need. So how long is this? Right now, ooh, it's about 14 inches. So I'd say 14, 15 inches. Okay. 14, 15 inches. How many pieces do you need? Patty, that's a good question. How full do you want your tassel to be? Right? That's how many pieces you need. It all just depends on how thick are your ribbons, how big are your laces, all of that. So you just kind of have to hold it up, kind of look at it, and then you can decide, do you want it to be really super full? Do you want it to be, less full? That's personal preference. Okay. You can use whatever you'd like. So I would suggest 20 gauge or 24 gauge wire. And I'm telling you those two just in case you have them in your stash. I'm going to use the 24 gauge. It's a little thinner, just really easy to manipulate with your fingers. So notice that I've taken it and I've basically just I'm not really folding it, but I made a little bend. Like put your finger here in the middle, and I kind of made a little bend there, right? A little curve right there, because what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this and we're going to put it in here. And then we want to be sure that we're somewhat even, right? So I'm just looking kind of down at again, I'll trim this up. It doesn't have to be super even, but I want to make sure it's not way lopsided. Okay, we don't want anything way lopsided. And then if you realize, like, I'm seeing that a lot of these little guys are right here on the top. And so I'm going to pull something else out. Sometimes, regardless of your layers, it's just how they fall. All right, so this is kind of like your last chance to kind of mess with it, look at it. And I think this is looking pretty good. Anything you need to adjust, we can adjust. If you feel like you have a piece of fabric that's too short. I have one in here that seems long, but I can't find the short piece. Maybe it's over here. Maybe it's over here. There we go. Okay. All right. So now then we're just going to be happy with it. And notice what I'm doing. I'm taking my hands and I'm squeezing. I'm really going to squeeze all of this up together. And then I'm going to twist this wire like a bread tie, right? You guys know what bread ties are. So I'm going to twist it up really good like a bread tie, and see how that just really brings everything together. It's going to look great. You can kind of fluff it out. This is going to be so cute. Okay. Everybody got that part? All right. That part's easy. I like the pink in there. Isn't that cute? So again, don't worry. Look down here. See this? Don't worry about that because we'll wind up kind of trimming it up a little bit. All of the tassel ends don't have to be exactly even. If we have some stragglers down here low, it's like we'll just trim them up. Okay, we'll give it a little bit of a haircut. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the toppers for the tassels, okay? And just show you a couple of issues that can arise, okay? These are issues that this has to do with the thimble, all right? So if you'll look at this thimble, you're going to see there's a little hole right here. See that little puncture hole? That if you're going to use a thimble, a lot of times I like to puncture a hole, okay? You could do that with a small nail and a hammer. You could do that with an awl. Do y'all know what an awl is? It has like a pointy end on it that you can tap with a hammer. But here's the thing. Thimbles today, all right, thimbles today are not made like the ones from way back, okay? They just aren't. So what happens sometimes is when you go to puncture, this happens and a big chunk kind of comes out. This chunk actually is going to be okay. Don't worry if that happens to you, all right? Because we're going to layer something on top of this and you're never going to see that. The goal is this. Sometimes we get this. And then look here. Sometimes the whole dang thing pops out, all right? And that has happened to me more than once. And I've gotten to the point now where I just have realized it really doesn't matter because I'm going to put something on top of this. Okay. So don't worry if you can't get that little puncture mark and it turns out like this, or even if the whole thing pops out. Okay. It's going to be okay. All right. You guys hear me? It's going to be okay if you're using a thimble. Now, the other thing about thimbles is somebody out there is going to say, oh my gosh, I have my grandmother's thimble and I want to make a tassel necklace with it. If you go way back to thimbles, they are almost impossible to punch a hole in. You have to have, like, if you have, you know, if you can find just the right drill bit, you can possibly drill a hole into them. But the older ones, it's like we don't have anything kind of in between, right? The older ones were made so well, they're very hard to puncture. These are newer ones. They're easier to puncture, but sometimes this will happen because they're not as well made as the older ones. So if you have an older one, you may have to actually drill little puncture marks in there, okay, little holes. Okay, you just need to, you could just do one in the center. Sometimes I'll do two, one on each side. And again, sometimes we're going to wind up with just a big gaping hole. Okay. All right. The other thing is using these caps, which I think are so pretty, you guys. So if you don't want to use a thimble, if you don't want to have to mess with the whole puncture thing, you can use these caps and they're great. You can see that they're just so pretty. They work really, really well. Okay. So if I'm going to use a cap, I'm just going to kind of show you. If I'm going to use this cap, I'm going to take both of the tails of the wire through here, and then I'm going to kind of pull really snug. I just want you to see how pretty these caps are, right? I mean, look how pretty that is at the top of the tassel. So, and again, these caps come in all, these caps come in all different finishes, colors, styles, you know, they're all different kinds. Bead caps is what I've been told to call them. But they're absolutely beautiful, right? I mean, they're so pretty, and that was easy, and I didn't have to puncture anything. Now, if you want to use your thimble, okay, same kind of thing. We're just going to pull the thimble down, right? We're going to pull the thimble down over it like this, and this is what it will look like with the thimble. And then, of course, we're going to layer some things up here, okay? Make sense? Okay. Very, very fun to make these. All right, I think I'm going to go with the cap actually because this one actually has the thimble. So do you see what I'm saying? See this little cap on top of that thimble? So you don't ever see the top of the thimble anyway, right? And I added a pearl on top of that. So it's really going to be okay if this happens to you, and it very well may. All right. All right, I'm going to use the little cap here. Okay, so there goes my cap. You can kind of pull and work with your ribbons. If you feel like something's twisted or you just want to mess with it a little bit, you can do that. And then the next thing I'm going to add on here is whatever I want to add. If I want it to be one of these kind of smaller caps, let's see what this one looks like on it. Sorry, my tails are kind of long here, but I like them long. I'll show you why. Oh, that looks kind of cute. So I could use that one, or I could just go straight in with a pearl. And again, we want to be doing this with both tails. I'm going to cut my tails to where they're the same length. And let's zoom in a little bit on my hands here. Okay, so I cut that to where they're both the same length. So now then, and depending on the gauge of your wire, that's why I like this one, this 20 or the what was it, the 24. That one has a bad hole. That one was plugged up. Okay, this one's fine. Okay, so I can run a pearl down. That looks so cute. And then if I want to put a cap on this pearl, like I said, they make these caps in all different sizes. Look, that's cute. This one's a little bit big for this pearl, so let's do this smaller one. All right, I'm just running it down. Oh yeah, I like that one. That one fits better. So do you see different caps are going to fit different beads or pearls better than others? And then I have this kind of this blush pink looking color. Thought it was pretty. Since we're adding in some pink. Cute. And then let's see, do I want to add one more? Let's add in one more, maybe little small pearl. Is that the same size? Now, the more beads you add, the longer, the more length you're adding. Yeah, that's really cute. Okay, so the more beads you add, the more length you're adding kind of to your tassel. Okay, they're just so pretty. Now I'm going to go ahead and end. I like ending these with something, right? So it might be like this little guy, something like this. It might be like this one. I'm going to do this little one here. I kind of like ending it with an actual, metal piece. Look how cute. All right. Any questions on that? I mean, literally, you can layer these up however you want. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be pearls. If you want to do something more kind of that boho look, these could be wooden beads, right? I mean, they could be anything, any kind of beads. Anything that you can run your wire through. Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's talk about how to actually finish this off. And again, you're going to have to know that, what did I tell y'all before? I'm not a jewelry maker. I'm a crafter that likes to work with jewelry pieces. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, yeah, you can get these bead caps. Oh, this is a spacer bead. See, Jan must be a jewelry maker. She must be. So spacer bead, that's what this is, spacer bead. These are caps, and they have big ones, they have medium ones, they have small ones, they have them in all different finishes. Okay, so this is what I do next. And again, this may not be, this is me doing it. I'm going to take my pinky finger. Okay, my pinky finger, and I'm going to wrap this wire kind of around my pinky finger. Okay, and then I'm going to take my finger out. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a little loop, just a little loop like this. Painted beads would be so cute. Yes. Shells. They even have shells that have somebody's already pre-drilled the holes in. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this loop and I'm going to kind of twist this wire around this loop. Okay. You see, I just twisted it. It kind of blends in with the spacer beads, so it may be kind of hard to tell. I just twist it around. All right. So after I've twisted it a few times, right? A few times, I'm going to take my little wire cutters here and snip those off. Now I'm going to come back in. I can reshape this loop, right? So it's not so round just by pushing it, right? I can reshape that. I'm going to take my little needle nose pliers now, and where I cut, I'm going to crimp. So I'm turning this and I'm crimping everything that I twisted. Okay. Just crimping that up. Don't worry about what this looks like up here because we just reshape it. So just crimp, crimp, crimp. And that is how I finish off the top. Okay. That's Miss Tracy's way. That's Miss Tracy's way. I don't know why my hands look dirty. I promise they are not dirty, but on this camera they look dirty. I don't know. Okay. I just find the easy way, right? Okay, Jan is telling me this is a wrap loop. Thank you, Jan. All right, so how do I connect this on to something else? What if I want to put in a strand of pearls? You can't put your pearls in until the end because we're going to use a little jump ring to actually attach it in here. And I kind of like it when it's kind of in the inside part, right? So if I want to attach a strand of pearls here, and let's see about how long this needs to be. I'm going to take it off about right here. So I'm going to snip that one off. Then I'm going to take a jump ring. I'm going to take one of these small jump rings. And a quick lesson on jump rings. They like to stay hooked together. Okay, so quick lesson on jump rings. Jump rings, you're actually going to split apart. So don't pull them apart. We're going to split them. Okay, watch this. All right. All right, see how it's right there? We're going to split them like that. I don't know if you can see what I've done there. I didn't pull it apart. I split it apart. Let's see if I can hold it here so you can see it a little better. All right, just split it apart. I think that's a good angle right there. Okay, yeah, pull to the side. You're splitting it apart. You're not pulling this way. You're doing this. Okay, so don't pull it apart like this. You're going to do it like this. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. All right, so now then I'm just going to hook this onto my beads here, hook that through, and then I'm going to hook it into one of my laces inside of my tassel. Just go right through the lace. Sorry, this may take me a second just to kind of manipulate my fingers here. There we go. And then let me try to hold this up so that you can see that. All right, you see how I've got it going through the lace and through here. And then all I have to do is come back and press those pieces back together again. Okay. Sliding on me. There we go. Okay. Now then, I have my little strand of pearls here inside of my tassel. I kind of like them when they're just kind of on the inside, because when you're wearing these or when they're on projects, they, everything kind of floats. It's different when I'm just kind of holding them in my hand, but it's kind of fun to have. And this is really pretty for so many things. I mean, there's all kinds of strands of things, but that's what I do. I just, anything else that I want to add into my tassel, I'm going to use jump rings for. Okay. So anything else that I want to add into my tassel, I'm using jump rings for, and I like to kind of add it, you know, kind of somewhere in the middle. It's almost like the surprise that you see, right? So let's think about charms. If I wanted to add some charms on here, right? Well, again, little jump rings, and I can add little charms. I could add little charms on the ends. I would not add the charms until you've trimmed it, right? You want to kind of trim it up. You could have little keys dangling. You could have whatever little finds you want to add to it. Okay. So yeah, I think it just looks really, really good. I don't put the pearls on when I'm putting the strands of the tassel in here, because the pearl will take up a lot of room and it gets really thick. So I like just adding them into the tassel after the tassel is made. Okay. Yes. And then all you're doing is adding it onto your chain. Now, this chain that I'm wearing right here, I just want to show you. There's my loop. My loop was big enough that I was able to just run this right onto the chain. I didn't have to use a jump ring. If, depending on your chain, the size of your chain, if you have to, you'll just use a jump ring to attach it to your chain if your chain doesn't just go through the tassel. If I'm using these on projects, like I like to put these on my altered train cases. I did a really pretty tassel and put it on my Christmas train case that I did napkin art all on top of. I usually just use some pretty ribbon or twine to tie them on to like the handles or wherever they're going to go. Okay. So Kathy, the length of the ribbons, I like to use 14 inches. I like to use 14 inches. Now that's going to be a little long, and watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to kind of come in and just kind of smooth everything down with my hands. And I'm going to look at what is kind of straggling here, right? And it's pretty obvious to see, like right in here, right? See how those are kind of longer than the others? So I can come in and I can cut these. If you put fabric into your, do you see how that just kind of took care of the little stragglers there? So it's just really easy to get them to whatever size you want them to be. Also, again, with your fabric, if you want to come in and give these kind of a cute little, you know, cute little cut, cute little scissor tail or a flag end, you can come in and give those a cute little cut. I don't always do that. This one I did not do that on. I just let them be. I used some, I don't know, all kinds of just random stuff in this one. So they're so fun and they're so easy to make. And you guys, these make great gifts. This makes a great gift for someone. And if we do, you guys have to tell me, because again, I just really wasn't sure about doing this as kits, because I just feel like it's such a great use for your scraps. If I do them as a kit, they'll all be kind of the same, right? Whereas I think you guys could really take advantage of doing these in different colors for different seasons. I think everybody should make themselves a neutral one, because they're pretty with any outfit, anything you ever wear. They're just so pretty, you know. So if I'm going to trim one piece of fabric, I have to trim them all. So let me trim all these real quick. Okay, so what do you think? You could add charms and trinkets, and you know, the more stuff you add, you know, the more interesting it'll be. And also, I think they're pretty when they're just like the one I'm wearing right now is nothing but ribbons, laces, and one strand of pearls. So you don't have to have a lot, right? It's just kind of up to you what all you want to add, how big you want them to be. And then the other thing I would advise, let me cut this one right quick. I think there's one more. Okay, the other thing I would advise those of you that are going to wear them as necklaces, if you're going to add them onto a chain or wear them as a necklace, here's the deal. Oh, I still need to maybe do a little trimming in here. And don't worry if any of this bends up here. It's just got the wire behind it, so you can just kind of, you know, you can alter that, change that up whenever you want to. Let's see, I want to lay this down and let's float our pearls up here so that way you have something pretty to look at. Okay, so if you're going to wear these, all right, I'm going to step back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to step back a little bit. This is probably the shortest I would ever wear mine. So I want the tassel part. Now, I'm not as blessed as some of you, and I'm not going to say the words because I'll get banned on Facebook. I'm not as blessed as some of you, right? But so I just like to make sure my tassel's kind of hanging under here, right? You know what I'm talking about? And actually, this chain I wish was maybe even like another inch longer. I like these on a long chain. I think they look really pretty on a long chain. They're really gorgeous. Okay. They're just so fun and so pretty. And now I have this pretty kind of vintagey soft pink. This will be really pretty to wear, I think, with Valentine's coming up. I just think they're just so much fun. Let's get this down so you can kind of see the view a little better. All right. Any questions? Yeah, you can put a clasp. You can also, they make the little connectors if you need to make a chain longer, you can do that too. So there's ways around it. And I've even been tempted because I go to conferences sometimes, and like I have a mastermind meeting coming up, and I put them on my lanyards. They're just really cute. So if you ever have to wear a lanyard, you can just stick one on. They also look cute. I've seen people put the little, what's that little, that little, it looks like a hook, and you just kind of press the lever down and it closes, like a keychain kind of thing, kind of hook. And they'll put those on them so they can just hook their tassels onto different bags. And I think that's genius. I have one of those, and I do actually have it hooked on a bag, but I love that I can switch them out. Okay. Yes, Dorothy, they look great on purses, tote bags, crossbody bags, any kind of bag, backpacks. I mean, they're just really cute on anything like that. Really, really cute. Okay. So that's it, y'all. So look at this one. You can see this one it's not super full. I have the one little strand of pearls. So it just depends. I have some that are different sizes, some that, are a little different in length, just depending on, what I feel like. Yeah, really cute. They would be very cute on pillows. Yes. And we have made those. If you're in the napkin club, we've made some really cute tassels for our little accent pillows that we did with our napkinizing. Really cute. We did a really cute one, a fall one. I've done an oceanside kind of feeling one. We did fall. Like I said, I put them on a couple of Christmas projects. They even would make beautiful ornaments. Really. So I think there's lots of ways that you could use these.